House Chelsted is a noble house from the Crownlands. They blazon their arms with pear-bend green and white, with crossed spiked maces and silver daggers. We know very little about their early history, but given they were sworn to House Targaryen by 283 AC, it is likely they were sworn to them long before that. It is believed, like most houses of the Crownlands, they are now sworn directly to House Baratheon of King's Landing, post-Robert's Rebellion. However, not much is known about the state of the house post-283. The lack of any record, to some, suggests that perhaps they became extinct for their support of House Targaryen during the rebellion, and then their actions towards the end of it, when they fell out of favour with the Mad King. The only member of House Chelsted we have record of is Lord Qarlton Chelsted, who was active late into the Targaryen era and a key part of King Aerys II's court for many years, serving in various roles within the small council. Lord Qarlton was the master of coin late in the reign of King Aerys II Targaryen, around the year 281 AC. In fact, Qarlton could be accounted as one of the most firm supporters of Aerys over the king's eldest son and heir, Prince Rhaegar, even when many at court began to turn on Aerys for his declining mental faculties. When the Tourney at Harrenhal was announced, there was a strong belief within the supporters of Aerys that Rhaegar was secretly funding the tourney out of his own pocket as a stealthy method to call a great council of the likes of 101 and 233 to discuss Aerys' rule and ability to act as king, perhaps even going as far as deposing his father in favour of himself. While there is no firm record this is what Rhaegar's intentions were, circumstantial evidence and the testimony of some of Rhaegar's supporters suggest this may have in fact been the case, and not just a figment of King Aerys' paranoia, more specifically involving Prince Rhaegar, who had become well liked by the lords, and more broadly by the small folk alike. While as the years passed, Aerys found his supporters fading, as reflected by the number of comings and goings within the likes of the small council. Being a supporter of Aerys, Lord Qarlton suggested a way to stop this tourney, and possibly Great Council, would be for the king to outright ban tourneys, meaning the gathering could not legitimately take place for any other reason than to be a Great Council. In doing this, the attendees could be argued as have committed treason by plotting to have Aerys removed from power. However, when he argued this to Aerys to forbid the tournament, he was unsuccessful in convincing the ever more erratic king, who instead chose to stop the proposed Great Council by attending Harrenhal himself. Surely Rhaegar and the lords whom supported him would not be as brazen to plot while the king himself was present. Qarlton would attend the tourney alongside Aerys. For the most part, the Tourney of Harrenhal was just that, a tourney, albeit the largest in a generation. But when Prince Rhaegar won the final joust, Lord Qarlton, alongside Lord Simon Staunton, inflamed the king's ever-growing suspicion by declaring that Rhaegar had only taken part in the tourney to win over the favour of the small folk and remind the lords present he was the true heir to King Aerys. While there is no true way to know if this was Rhaegar's intent, in his victories at Harrenhal, he only deepened the love of the small folk to the prince, and to many lords, showed them he could be the ideal Targaryen prince, rather than his erratic and ill-tempered father. When Rhaegar later crowned Lyanna Stark as the Queen of Love and Beauty at the end of the tourney, Qarlton took this as further proof of Rhaegar's ambitions. Little did anyone know, including Qarlton himself at the time, that this event, even if it was part of Rhaegar's plot against Aerys, all it did was begin to wake the rage of the Lord of Storm's End, Robert Baratheon. During Robert's Rebellion, Qarlton succeeded to the position of Hand of the King after his predecessor, Lord Jon Connington, had been sent into exile in Essos by Aerys, following defeat in the Battle of the Bells. Qarlton was present during the king's systematic build-up and placement of wildfire throughout King's Landing, and the suspicious Hand noticed the comings and goings of Bellis, Garadis, and Rosart of the Guild of Alchemists. After Qarlton discovered Aerys' wildfire plot to burn King's Landing to ashes should the rebels try and take the city, he attempted to prevent its execution. Lord Chelsted protested, pleaded with Aerys not to do this, and eventually resigned the position of Hand of the King when the king refused. Aerys had him dipped in wildfire and burned alive. According to historic accounts written by Maester Yandel, Qarlton was burned alive for bad counsel during the war. Qarlton was succeeded as Hand of the King by the pyromancer Rosart. During the events of A Storm of Swords, In Harrenhal's bathhouse, Sir Jaime Lannister tells Brienne of Tarth about King Aerys II's court during Robert's Rebellion, including how Qarlton had been executed after he resigned his office of hand. He then had the following to say of Qarlton: "I thought the man craven, but the day he confronted Aerys, he found some courage somewhere. He did all he could to dissuade him. He reasoned, he jested, he threatened, and he finally begged. When that failed, he took off his chain of office and flung it down on the floor. Aerys burnt him alive for that, and hung his chain around the neck of Rosart, his favourite pyromancer." During the events of A Feast for Crows, when watching the Tower of the Hand burning, Cersei Lannister enjoys thinking of the deaths at the hands of the kings she has known over the years, Qarlton included. She thinks to herself of Owen Merryweather, Jon Connington, Qarlton, Jon Arryn, Eddard Stark, her brother Tyrion, and her father, Lord Tywin Lannister, most of all. All of them are burning now, she told herself, savouring the thought. They are dead and burning, every one, with all their plots and schemes and betrayals. Unless more information comes to light after the hopeful publication of The Winds of Winter, that is all we currently know of House Chelsted.